This signifies the fact that the virgin nature always takes part in miracles, and this is the primary subject of this card which we're talking about, Force, a card which represents a woman victorious over a lion, holding its jaws open with her hands. And the woman does this with apparent ease, without effort, which we've talked about before. She's clearly just holding the lion's jaw open with a strange ease, looking forward quite nonchalantly. And this is a non-effort we've spoken about in the first card. She wears a similar hat to the magician of the first card, in the form of a lamantinate, and both of them equally stand under the sign of eternity. The hat is in the symbol of eternity, which symbolizes that eternal respiration, that spiritual respiration we've spoken about, of the spiritual respiration of the above and the below. And so force is understood in relation to nature, and it is thus a power without effort. Right? Force subdues the lion, but it's not the means of the force which the lion has, but rather by a legitimized force of the higher order, which simply allows this. And once again, we are seeing how things are enacted, which might seem anathema to the Christian worldview, that they had something to do with a higher order, which implies a legitimacy. So, what are we actually being taught? What's going on? It's the question we're probably all asking. What we're actually being taught here via this card then, we're being invited to leave behind the plane of quantity, right? And to raise ourselves once again to the plane of quality. Very roughly speaking, once again, it's the horizontal and the vertical. For it cannot be the same quantity of forces that which the lion itself has. It has to be a higher quality, right? It can't be the lion has X amount of force, and so to overtake it, we need X amount of force, because that's the same quality of force. It's a force of the below. It has to be a different quality, so we're moving from quantity to quality, okay? And thus, degenerate animality of the below obeys because of that higher quality. The card invokes non-fallen nature, that pre-fall Edenic nature, and from this we can speak again of the serpent who is in opposition and creates friction, which produces a material energy, a material quantified force. And then we can speak of the virgin who is in concordance, right, which creates a fusion, a cooperation. It engenders a force, a quality of force which is legitimate. And we see this in many of the saints which have relationships with animals, this saintly force that many of these saints, it's said, when they go back to natural places where they're animals, the bestial, degenerate, primal nature of many animals, which would otherwise attack and be vicious, goes back to that pre-full Edenic state. And you see this in many icons of saints who are talking to bears or at one with animals in this sense. And we could, once again, when we turn back, this is a legitimate energy, and we see this, that the idea of the serpent's energy just isn't legitimate, because it comes from a friction and a conflict which is engendered solely in the below and releases into the world an enormous amounts of psychic energy which simply result in wars and conflict, and nothing legitimate can ever sort of neutralize it, okay? Truth, for truth of the serpent, which is non-truth, springs forth only from a clash of opinions, which is schism, which we know is not where truth is. Truth is in unification, it's in harmony. Truth never can spring forth from a combative personal will. The truth is only revealed through this form of cooperation via something which is above, something which is vertical, something which can legitimize the force, and that can only be something which is silent, something which is open, something which is virgin in that sense. And it's through this fusion, this cooperation, this conversation, which is the process of together reversing that opposition and controversy, right? This is the work of synthesis. And virginity then is the unity of that which is above and that which is below, and it is this which is force. It is the actions of these three ideas in harmony. Force itself being a sort of unifying principle, being the harmony of the above and the below.